Welcome to the Otaku Mother Village Mother Podcast. It is your boy Big Schwag in the building. I appreciate y'all for pulling up on me today. Look, are we gonna be consistent? Are we gonna be consistent with the podcast? I would hope so. I would like for us to be. But with that being said, let's not talk about that no more. Thank y'all once again for pulling up. You can find this podcast if you're watching on YouTube. You can find this podcast on Spotify. As far as the the audio version and wherever else you might find, audio podcast. I'll set up links. You already know how I do. And if you're listening to the audio version, you can watch the video version on YouTube. You know what I mean? So like, I've got the podcast. Let's try to be more consistent. The YouTube is Schwag Gaming and Music, and you can find the Otaku Village podcast on Spotify at just that title, man. What are we doing trying to be consistent? We're trying to get it out the mud. That's what we're trying to do, man. All this content creator stuff, man. But here's the thing about me, man. I have a platform to be able to talk about any and anything that I want to, but I don't be wanting to talk about any and everything that I want to. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's I be sitting there and I be thinking of stuff, and part of having a podcast is sitting around and thinking about stuff and looking around outside of myself to try to find things to talk about. And I'm not gonna hold you, I ignore a lot of things. I ignore so many things because I'm it doesn't deserve my energy. And I just, you know what? I want to pass that on to y'all. Sometimes it's okay to just ignore some things, okay? Some things just don't deserve your time, attention, and most definitely your energy. I'm at an age right now where I'm you know what? If I don't feel like speaking on something, I'm just not going to speak on something. If I'm not going to address it, if I'm not going to pay attention to it, I just won't. And I'm so good at ignoring things at this point in my life, man. It's just, when I say ignoring it, I'm not saying pretending like it's not happening. I say ignoring it as far as more so of an acknowledgement thing. It's I acknowledge that it's happening, but I just don't care to give it any of my energy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to keep it over there. It's going to do what it's going to do, and I'm going to just do me. That's where I'm at, right? That's why me doing a podcast is kind of different, because now I'm putting myself in a position to address certain things. And, it's all right. I think it makes me more present, but at the same time, it's also forcing me to hop out of box that I don't like hopping out of sometimes. Because I like being in my pocket. I like staying in my lane. But, this is what I want to do. I want to talk because sometimes I don't got nobody to talk to about certain things. And I just you know what? Let me put it out there instead of keeping it in. Let the void have it. Let the air have it. Let the space have it. Let y'all have it. Let y'all have it. You know what I mean? So, one thing I definitely didn't want to talk about was that Tyson fight. I did not. I absolutely did not want to talk about that Tyson fight. Mike Tyson and Jake Paul just recently, as I'm recording this, just this past weekend, was it last Friday? So that would have been the 15th? I believe that would have been the 15th. They had a fight live on Netflix. First of all, Netflix, I'm not playing with y'all. Get it together. Y'all have been a thing since when? What? And y'all we gonna start doing live events. And then y'all got all these connectivity issues. What are y'all doing right now? What are y'all doing right now? Honestly, why are y'all servers so trash? Y'all want to do live events on y'all platform. I'm talking about, bro, something as simple as Love is Blind. Love is Blind did a live reunion. And that John was just messy. What are y'all talking about? Y'all want to do live events? Y'all Love is Blind. Y'all was just sitting around in the room talking, being messy, and y'all couldn't get that right live. But y'all want to do something large scale, something as large scale as a boxing match? And I'm sitting there, and you know what's crazy? I'm not even at home. I'm watching it somewhere else. And I'm thinking it's the connection over there. We for real was thinking it was a connection over there. And it was like, whatever. So we went and switched over to something else. Like, we were just like, all right, check back in, boo, boo. Right? But like, and then we toughed through it, whatever. But then I go on social media and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not us. It's everybody. It's everybody. It's everybody. Okay, before I dive too deep into that, right? Before I dive too deep into that, first of all, let me let y'all know. Okay, let me talk about me for a second. I'm doing okay. I'm chilling. I don't do nothing but work, go home, game, work on stuff. That's it. But I'm good overall, like mental health wise. I'm good. I'm chilling. No need to panic or worry. I'm chilling. Yeah, there are some days that are better than others, but I'm human. I'm chilling. So with that being said, let me rant. So I didn't want to watch any of the prelims. I didn't want to watch none of the main card. I was like, let's get to why we wanted to watch it in the first place. But I was very interested, absolutely interested in the Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor fight. I personally was invested in that fight. Let me tell y'all something about me. I don't care about boxing. I don't. MMA, UFC, I'm all in. Let me tell you why. It's hard to cheat the UFC. It's hard. Bro, I'm talking about you throwing straight hands and feet, it's hard to cheat that. It's really hard. Boxing, man, I'm talking about one of the most corrupt sports out there. One of the most corrupt, unorganized, like as far as like judging goes, terrible. And why do I say that? Let me talk about it. I personally anticipated the Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor fight. I personally was very much so like wanting to watch that fight. How do you get cut via headbutt? How do you catch multiple headbutts? Multiple headbutts. Only get penalized for it once. Basically lead with your head throughout the fight. Like if you watch the fight, Katie Taylor is leaning with her head for the most part on defense. Therefore setting it up. And let me just for all those who don't watch boxing. For all those who don't watch boxing, right? When you have a southpaw and somebody that fights orthodox, which means basically somebody that leads with their right versus somebody that leads with their left fighting, there's going to be a few complications, right? One of the things like people stepping on each other's foot, right? Because you got one person leading with their left foot, another person leading with their right foot. Sometimes that happens. If you're a skilled fighter, that's not going to happen as much because you understand spacing and things of that nature when it comes to fighting somebody that is fighting with the opposite lead hand, right? But with that being said, you also do have to account for some headbutting when it comes down to defense, the way you sway and move on defense. There are some headbutts that can that can happen, when you fight somebody that's an opposite style of you, right? It happens. It does happen. You can look it up. It does happen. But Amanda Serrano's been in multiple fights, like maybe 70 plus fights. She's only been cut in her career 2 times. In her professional career, she's only been cut in her career 2 times. Both of those times have been by Katie Taylor. Both of those times has been by Katie Taylor. So we should probably look into Katie Taylor. We should probably look into her. Amanda Serrano landed more punches, had a higher percentage of landed punches, did not get penalized, did not get knocked down, but still managed to lose the fight. I'm talking about if you watch the fight, if you listen to the crowd reaction after the fact, you just knew Serrano won the fight. You just knew. You just knew she won the fight. I'm talking about the gash was crazy on her eyebrow. If first of all, shout out to the cut man. Shout out to the cut man who showed up. I'm talking about that man clocked in and said, hey, it's time to work. There are days where the cut man don't got nothing to do. Cut man just be there to be there and be like, hey, good job, big dog. And just be chilling. But I'm talking about the cut man, boy. The cut man said, hey, he called whoever he needed to call and said, hey, I'm gonna need you. Hey, look, I'll let you know when I'm on the way home. I got work to do. Click. Man, the gash on Serrano was crazy. They had to call the doctor in. I was like, y'all, they're calling this fight. They're calling it. Doctor straight up was like, can you see? Are you good? She's like, yeah. Doctor was like, okay. If you good, then we good. I ain't tripping if you ain't tripping. And I was like, bro, after the quick timeout, I was like, yo, Cut Man, you better be about that action. And Cut Man was about that action. Cut Man put in work. Cut Man, yeah, that's me. Shout out to Ha Davis. But I'm talking about anybody else. If that thing would have kept leaking, Doc would have cut it. Or excuse me. My bad, sorry. Cut it. Sorry. Doc would have stopped it. But the cut man was like, hey, Katie Taylor put a whole coochie on your forehead. We gonna close it up. I'm talking about, Google it. It was bad. Put me in that ring, put a cut on me like that. Once that adrenaline goes off, I'm like, hey, I'm out of here, bro. That thing hurt. Because I'm talking about Katie kept hitting that thing. Kept hitting it. Blah, blah. Kept hitting it, whether it be with the fist or the head. It was not pretty. It was not pretty. Shout out to Amanda Serrano for staying in that ring to completion all the way through. Right? Because I know that had to be a beast of pain right there. And then to lose the fight, knowing all of what happened, headbutts and all. I'm talking about boxing's dead to me. Boxing is absolutely dead to me. I have no reason to watch boxing anymore. Especially the main event. Here, okay, let's just talk about it, right? Jake Paul. We complained that Jake Paul has never fought a boxer. Never fought a real true boxer. He's fighting a bunch of MMA fighters. We complained about that. We did. We absolutely did. We did. And then he does fight a boxer. But then he fights an old boxer. I love Mike Tyson, man. But like, fight a boxer. Fight a boxer. Fight one that's fighting now. Fight one now. He's literally finessing his way through pro boxing, acting like he's really fighting. He's not. He's not fought a real boxer outside of Mike Tyson, but that man is 58. 58. Let me tell you how disappointing that was. Mike Tyson threw a grand total of 97 punches. 97 punches. He threw a grand total of 97 punches. Connected on 18. He connected on 18 of 97 punches. That man flunked boxing. But let's keep it a band. Have we ever really known Mike Tyson to be a volume puncher? Not really. Not really. We've never really known him to be a volume puncher. He always picks his shots. But for you to throw under 100 punches, nah, bro. That ain't it. 8 rounds and you threw under 100 punches, bro. We not here for that. We not here for that, bro. We're not here for that. That's not what we came for, bro. You got your bag. Congratulations. Congrats. You got your bag. But as far as like the boxing community, boxing fans, you let them down. I'm not like the biggest boxing fan at all. I do enjoy a good fight. I do enjoy a good card. Fam, come on, dog. Come on. Like you were wilding out on that one. So again, I don't be wanting to speak on everything. I don't be wanting to speak on everything, but I just had to point that out. Fam, that's probably the worst pay-per-view I've ever experienced in my life. And I watched quite a few UFC pay-per-views where like we waited for the main card and it was the first round knockout. And I was like, what the mother F? So personally, I don't ever pay for first, let's talk about it. I don't pay for UFC pay-per-views. Absolutely not. I do not. I saw one not go any kind of distance. I'm talking about no kind of distance. And after that, I was like, okay, I ain't paying for no more UFC pay-per-views. Absolutely not. Nope. Because them boys can be over in 2 seconds. I'm not doing it ever again. And I have not not paid for a UFC pay-per-view in 14 years. Never again. So, but I will watch UFC events. I will watch MMA events. I will watch those because, man, you get your money's worth if you're not paying a lot. So that's where I'm at with it. Boxing for me, dead. Absolutely dead. Cheating in the judges' tables. They're not watching the same fights, and they're never watching the same fights that we are. I don't know what the F is going on. I don't care. I don't care. No more. We're done with those. We're done. So, off boxing. All right. So check this out. This is what I want to talk about next. I saw this come across my timeline, and I was completely baffled. I was completely baffled that this was happening. And you know, crazy, I was doing a lot of like Googling and searching because I was like, let me find out where this person went wrong. I didn't want to prejudge at all. I wanted to make sure this person was not doing nothing crazy before I commented on this. Absolutely nothing. Because I was like, if I'm gonna comment on this, it's gonna be correct, right? Or close to correct. So like all of it is alleged. All of it. Before I say anything about this, alleged. Okay? So we're gonna keep that a ban, right? So I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna switch over to this real quick, right? A mom in Georgia is speaking out, and of course, like they hold me on that. Okay, so if you're watching the video version, you just saw me get hoed by the browser. Okay, so Mama Georgia speaking out about being arrested for reckless conduct after her 10-year-old son was found walking alone. I'm going to say that again. A mom in Georgia is speaking out about being arrested for reckless conduct after her then 10-year-old son was found walking home alone. Okay. All right. So you hear that? All right. 10-year-old son was walking home alone. Why was her 10-year-old son walking home alone? Let's talk about it. Let's absolutely talk about it. Brittany Patterson, 41 years old. She was arrested by deputies on August 30th after a witness reported a quote-unquote juvenile in the roadway who had gone into and left a nearby Dollar General. Right? Her son, who was 10 years old at the time, now 11, went into a Dollar General by himself. The Dollar General was 1 mile away from the family's home. Patterson had left her son to take another one of her children to a doctor's appointment and didn't report him missing. This is according to the report. Because remember, I said all this is alleged. All this is alleged. Excuse me, I had to burp a little bit. Sorry. All this is alleged. In Georgia, neglect by a parent can be defined as failure, this is a quote, failure to provide a child with adequate supervision necessary for a child's well-being, end quote. This is what they got going on in Georgia. Now, this is the conversation that was had, right? But before the conversation, right? Let's talk about it. The mom, Patterson, told ABC News that she was annoyed that her son didn't tell her where he was going, but didn't think he was in any danger. And one of her quotes was, "I wasn't panicking or concerned because it's just a short walk from her house. He knows how to get home." First of all, you 10 years old, you gonna tell me where the F you're going? You are 10 years old. You are going to tell me where the you're going. But I'm going to scroll up for those watching the video version. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to say anything, actually. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say that if I have a 10-year-old, he's going to tell me where he's going. If I have a 10-year-old, he's going to tell me where he's going. But for those who are watching the video version, you see what I'm doing. You're going to tell me where he's going. I'm just saying. Ain't no way you're going to be annoyed with your son not telling you where he's going and then still not get that information. If you're my son, just saying. But if you're watching the video version... Okay. All right. So there was a body cam footage that was released by the sheriff's office. Okay. There's a video that's actually really out there. I'm not gonna play the video. I'm just gonna read the transcript. Right. Patterson asks, "What am I under arrest for?" Deputy says, "For reckless endangerment." Reckless endangerment. So Patterson asks, "And how was I recklessly endangering my child?" Before the deputy responded, "We're not talking about it." First of all, if you're going to tell me I'm endangering my child, you're going to tell me how. You're just not going to, we ain't going to talk about it. You're going to tell me how. If you think I'm endangering my child, you're going to tell me why and how I'm endangering my child. And on third, who told you? Who out here talking? But that's neither here nor there. The deputies then handcuffed him up. Right? During the arrest, Patterson also said to one of the deputies, sorry, they are an employee. But anyway, she says, "Last time I checked, it wasn't illegal for a kid to walk to the store." The deputy then replied, "It is when they're 10 years old." Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Fam, this world ain't what it used to be. This world ain't what it used to be. Cause I'm talking about when I was 10 years old. When I was 10 years old, 11 years old. I'm talking about I was Luffy in the Straw Hat Pirate Gang. I was traveling the world. You couldn't tell me nothing. 10, 11 years old, I was walking everywhere. Everywhere. Street Light Gang. If you already know what's going on, Street Light Gang. I was Street Light Gang. When the boys came on, you already knew what's up. Take your ass home. Go home. I was Street Light Gang, baby. We was out here in these streets. We was going wherever we wanted. Let me tell y'all. Let's talk about it. My parents would have been arrested 50 times over. 50 times over. 10, 11, 12 years old. 10, 11, 12 years old. My parents would have been arrested 50 times over. I was out there walking, baby. Okay, let me shout out to all my folk that lived on Yokosuka Air Force Base. Air Force? Whoa. Sorry. Naval Base. The disrespect. Sorry. Air Force was the first thing that came to my mind. I'm sorry. Yokosuka Naval Base. Out there in Big Japan, baby. Where I grew up. 13 years strong, baby. I'm talking about when I finally got to 10, 11, 12 years old. Sundays. And my sister and brother can attest to this. Sundays was the day. I got to walk the streets Sunday morning because Sundays for us was McDonald's breakfast day. Man, oh man, I don't know what rituals y'all had as a family, as childrens. I don't know what y'all had, but Sunday morning for us in our home was McDonald's breakfast day. Did not matter. Mom was not cooking on Sunday morning. She was not. What we were doing was eating what we had already in the house, or we was hitting that Mickey D's Sunday morning. And most times it was my parents that went, right? When we were younger, it was my parents that went to McDonald's, right? But when we got older, we were trusted to go out onto the streets and walk around and go and get it, right? And what happened was that I became of an age that was old enough to hunt lions, tigers, and bears, according to my family. And I got to walk the streets of the naval base and walk from where we were at Briggs Bay. Shout out to all the folks at Greeley Lane, big Greeley Lane up in this B. And I walked all the way across the base past Benny Decker Theater. You already know what time it is, where I watched Good Burger and a Harry Potter movie. Yeah. And I went to that McDonald's. And we copped breakfast. But also the Sunday newspaper. Yeah, I'm of that age. We're a big newspaper age, right? That Sunday newspaper had the comics in it. Oh, yeah. The big funnies. The comics. And it also had the crossword in it. Big ups to them crosswords. Also, it had a little blurb in there, right? For like celebrities. And it gave you like little factoids about celebrities in that little section. And that's when I found out that me and Hall of Fame wide receiver Randy Moss have the same birthday. Yep. Me and Randy Moss have the same birthday, which is pretty cool. So there's that. I walked by myself, unassisted, streets empty, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, nothing going on. Walked on that base by myself, all the way to the McDonald's, all the way to the commissary to go cop me a newspaper. I'm talking about quarters in hand, boot, the little newspaper joints. Yeah, my parents would have been arrested 50 times over. So many times we get home from school. Hey, can we go outside and play? Boom. We went outside and played. We went wherever we wanted. We went to the commissary. We went to the exchange. We went to the movie theaters. We went off base. We went to the DIA, which is now the Koska. It used to be called the DIA. Then it was like the Aeon. Now it's called Koska for all those who live in Yokosuka. Man, hey, look. Talk about it. I'm talking about we walked, bruh. I got an autograph I got a box right now in my room, and in that box is a smaller box on some like Russian doll stuff. And I got an autograph from Mean Gene, right? Because he opened up like a Mean Gene's Burgers on the base, something like that, to that effect. I can't remember, but I remember I was like 10, 11, 12 something years old. And he personally came out there and was signing autographs. And I got his autograph picture signed by Mean Gene himself from like wrestling fame, right? I walked. I barely knew who the dude was, but I loved wrestling. Oh my God, I loved wrestling. Dude. But like, yeah. I copped that autograph. I went home, bro. Like, imagine getting arrested as a parent for letting your children 10, 11, 12 years old go walk by themselves. Back then, bro, I would have never had fun. I would have never been on the adventures that I went on. If my parents got in trouble for letting us walk and be free, bro, we went to the exchange commissary, bro. We would leave from school, go to the store, cop candy, then go home. My parents would tell me come straight home all the time. They would always tell me come straight home. Fam, man, you are telling me to come straight home, bro. When I have extra dollars in my pocket, I'm gonna go buy sour Skittles and tear up the roof of my mouth. The roof of my mouth. I said roof. The roof of my mouth. Fam, I'm gonna go buy sour Skittles. I'm gonna go buy, what was it? Corn nuts? Bro, the spicy corn nuts. Balls up there on them. When hot Cheetos didn't used to cost nothing, bro, copping a bag. Man, what? And then learning the hard way, don't eat most of that bag. If you know what I'm talking about. Don't eat most of that bag, please. Please, that's dangerous. Super spicy. Booty hole on fire. Oh, God. Booty hole on fire. But yeah, in a way, I read this story and I was like, what? Now, nowadays, it's a little bit weird to send your kids out by yourself. It's too much wildness going on out there. But back then, bro, I'm talking about, stop. We traveled the world. Bro. Instant transmission to store to store, to spot to spot, to park, to, man, it didn't matter. It did not matter. So, back to the story. I digress. I'm sorry. All right. All right. So, the arrest warrant claimed that Patterson willingly and knowingly did endanger the bodily safety of her juvenile son. Right? That's crazy. That's crazy. Right? The authorities did say that they would drop the charge against Patterson if she signs a safety plan that involves the use of a GPS tracker on her son's phone. But Patterson told ABC she's refusing to sign that. And I will quote, I just felt like I couldn't sign that, and that in doing so would be agreeing that there was something unsafe about my home or something unsafe about my parental decisions, and I just don't believe that. Patterson is currently out on bail and faces 1 or up to 1 year in jail with the reckless conduct charge. And you know what? I think she's okay for not signing that because, yes, if by signing the agreement, it's like an admission of guilt. I see where she's coming from. It's an admission of guilt. I know where some of y'all y'all gonna send y'all children out there by yourselves. My thing is, it just depends on where y'all are. She's like, he's going to a Dollar General. It's a mile away. He knows he knows how to get home. Apparently, he probably has a key because she was out. I don't know where dad is. They don't say nothing about dad. Don't know where he is. Not gonna speculate. But my thing is, if she felt like her son could be out by himself a mile away from the house, go in the store, come back, that's how she felt. That's how she felt. And I'm not going to question it. Because, again, my parents, they let us roam. Of course, you know what I'm saying? It was like baby steps. Where it was like, okay, only go here. Like, it was like, time, only go here. But this happened at a time, time. And then it went from, you can go here, and here. But at this time, come back. So there was steps. There was absolutely steps to this. There's levels to it, right? So it wasn't like recklessly letting us travel all over the world, right? Without understanding the risks, without trusting us first, it was a bunch of that, right? So my parents weren't just recklessly letting us roam. Like they had like a rope or a leash, if anything, and and I call it a rope because hey, they could pull that hoe back at any point they wanted to, right? So yeah, I seen friends that had basically zero curfew. I'm talking about we'd have to go home street lights or when it got dark. Like it was either street lights or when it got dark, one of the two, right? And so we'd have to go back in, and then we'd have to beg, like, "Hey, yo, they still playing out here, bro. Like, we playing Manhunt. Look, Manhunt, dog. Look, we not gonna get off topic, but like, it was something to that effect where we're like, well, look, hey, they still out here playing." And then like where we live, like there was a tennis court right by where we live, and the lights of the tennis court would come on. So we had adequate lighting for where we were, but like, you know what I'm saying, and even with the street lights at the front of the house. But then they would want to go in other places, and then of course, like if they decided to travel, you know, we couldn't do that. So we'd had to get a little more trust for that, and you know, we black, you know. I now being a grown black adult, I get it. Like I probably didn't understand it back then, why my parents didn't let me move as much as my friends got to move. But like now I get it, because I grew up around a lot of like Asians and white folks, few black folks where I was. The black folks were like on a different base. They were on Ikego. A lot of the black folks were at Ikego, not at Yokosuka. Weird. Don't know why that happened. But yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of Asians, a lot of white folk, whatever. And so they got to do a lot of stuff that we didn't get to do. And now as an adult, I get it, kind of. Like, why we had a lot more restrictions on us. So, I don't fault it. I get it. There was a lot of fun that could have been had, but it is what it is. It was what it was. You know what I mean? So, do I necessarily agree with Miss Patterson being locked up or not, you know what I'm saying, being charged for this? No, I don't, because apparently you got situation to situation. You got to look at it. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at it from the outside looking in, and you're like, oh, okay, you're sending a child out by himself. That's endangerment. But like, you got to look at the situation as a whole. Like, how many times does this happen? How far are they? How responsible is the child? How responsible is the parent? There's so much that goes into it. It's just like having apparently somebody had, you know, somebody snitched and was like, oh, we seen this child pulling up bottles. You all look into it. And it looked like a snitching situation. And to that I say, mind y'all MFing business. Mind your business. But hey, that situation is gonna be what it is. They're gonna move into it how they gonna move into it. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. So I want to switch gears. I want to switch gears to something a little more me like. You know what I mean? Me like. You know what I'm talking about? So I've always had this like thing about black characters in anything, right? Whether it be movie characters, TV, gaming, right? So today, like, I wanted to dive into like black gaming, and more specifically, I wanted to like just burping out here. I wanted to talk about my favorite black video game characters, and I don't care, bro. I'm gonna talk about my top 5, and you know, it might change, but like, I definitely want to talk about my top 5, right, for black video game characters, and I'm talking about, I'm spanned from a very long line of gaming, right? From Nintendo on up. You know what I mean? So there are black characters that I've went through and I've looked at and I've studied, and I've been like, all right, you know, for the games that I played, and I've just been like, all right, who can I consider like my top 5, like up top? And I thought about doing some honorable mentions, but I was like, man, that'll take too long. That'll absolutely take too long. So I'm gonna talk about just strictly my top 5. And it might surprise you what I got. So I definitely want to go into that. So and of course I'm gonna give my reasoning for each one. I'm gonna give my reasoning. I feel like it's fair. If I'm just gonna say my top 5, I feel like I should give them the reasoning for why I have them as my top 5. Right? Right? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start with number 5. Number 5 for like my number 5 for my top 5 favorite black video game characters, right? And some of y'all think like it don't matter, but like representation does in a sense matter, right? Where like, you know what I'm saying, growing up, there wasn't a lot of it. Now there is for me. and it's dope. But like, for the ones that I did get growing up, and even like, as an adult, I'm like, man, that's cool. Cause like as an adult, I understand more. I see things in a different light, and I'm like, dang, like I can see certain characters for what they are and what they're portraying, and I can do the research and see what like the creators were trying to go with that character. And it's always so dope to like see, because like there's certain black characters I'm like, okay, they put a nigga in the game and was like, all right, y'all got one. Like, nah, like just let's not do that. Let's actually make it make sense. All right. So my number 5 would have to be the man's Barrett Wallace from Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was one of like the first for real RPGs I got invested in as a child. The crazy thing was like I stumbled upon Final Fantasy VII. Weirdest thing. I played this game called Tobu 1. Tobu 1 is a fighting game that came out in Japan. I don't think it ever came out to North America, and that's a shame because Tobu 1 and Tobu 2 was like one of my favorite fighting games of all time growing up in Japan. It was crazy. The music was good, the fighting was good. They had a quest mode as well as like, saying it was single player, and then the multiplayer was good. And the characters, and then like it R.I.P. Akira Toriyama. Akira Toriyama actually did the art for the Tobu series, which is something a lot of people don't know. So that was pretty cool. That's also a pretty cool nugget. Like I said, again, shout out Akira Toriyama, who passed this year. Damn, terrible loss for the community. But Barrett Wallace was a character in Final Fantasy VII. Who like I'm like, oh, we got one, bro. And as a young goon, young black dude out there in Japan, it was good to see one. So for those who don't know who Barrett Wallace is, I'm gonna just give a quick synopsis, like not a synopsis, a quick bio. He's a playable character in Final Fantasy VII. He leads an eco-terrorist group called Avalanche. Bust down Rolly Avalanche. Shout out to Kai Cenat. Trying to prevent Shinra Electric Power Company from using the Mako, the planet of Gaia's life source, as a form of energy. The eco-terrorists, huh? That's crazy, right? Barrett fights passionately for his cause and cares greatly for his allies. There's a bunch of like, backgrounds, whatever about him. Like, but anyway, yeah, like he teams up with Cloud, Strife, who is the main protagonist of Final Fantasy VII. My man's got the choppers for that. Hey, okay. First of all, let's talk about it, right? Why, like, growing up, there was a lot of, black characters, not a lot, but there was a good number of black characters who had, like, deformities, right? You got Barrett with the chop on the arm. You had Jax, who had the robot, the cyborg arms, the metallic arms. Then you had Axel from Twisted Metal or whatever. His, like, arms were like the wheels. Why did they fuck us up in video games? Why? Just keep us normal. Why? I don't know why it was a thing where like hey, he's black. Let's mess him up. Like, why do they have to Kunta Kinte every one of us? Like, you know what I'm saying? For those who don't know Roots, Kunta Kinte got his foot chopped off. Sorry, spoiler alert. Don't care. You should have seen it. Yeah. Now, like, why always gotta have some kind of deformity? Why? Just keep us normal. So that's where I'm at with it. That's just, I'm just keep it in the band. Why couldn't they just keep us normal? But yeah, that, like for me, like to play an RPG, first of all, like to play an RPG, see a black character in it in a Japanese game, and to okay, let's talk about Japan and their depiction of black characters. Problematic. All right, Mr. Popo is a thing. So for Japan not to like to do us dirty, appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah. Barrett Wallace, strong guy in Final Fantasy VII. So like that's my number 5. Number 4. Can we talk about number 4? This is my number 4. Okay. Eddie Gordo, and I already know what you're thinking. Some of y'all are thinking, oh, he's from Brazil. He's from Brazil. I don't care. When I was growing up, I seen a motherfucker with dreads, and I said, yes, he's me. I seen him with them locks and I said, yes, sir. I didn't care if he knew capoeira. I didn't care. It was me. I wanted to be Eddie. Did not have the flexibility, talent, skill, or anything that he had, but Eddie Gordo was my guy growing up playing Tekken. And this was before I really took Tekken seriously, because I started taking Tekken seriously, like for real seriously, Tekken 7. And then I carried it on to Tekken 8. I just, as myself, knew that like Eddie was not going to be a character that I was going to realistically play. Growing up, of course, XOXO, hey, button mash. That was the thing. Button mash. We up. He was one of the more prolific black video game characters. When you say Eddie Gordo, you already know. The moans and groans. You just gonna button mash. You just gonna button mash. Like they was always like, if you picked Eddie, if you sitting next to somebody, couch gameplay, sitting right next to your boy, and you picked Eddie, sometimes people were like, don't pick Eddie. They're like, you're not allowed to pick Eddie. Literally, the conversation was sometimes you are not allowed to pick Eddie. So when I think of black video game characters, he pops up very much so often because people sometimes are like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. So let me tell y'all about it. Let me tell y'all, for those who don't know, he's from the Tekken series. He first popped up in Tekken 3. He popped up in every other subsequent Tekken game. Here's the crazy thing though. Why was he a DLC in Tekken 8? If he's been there since Tekken 3, and he's been a very prolific character in the series, why did we have to have him as a DLC? Why? Why did Eddie have to be a DLC when he's been a staple character? And then people are like, well, Heihachi was a DLC. Well, Heihachi was off. No, I'm going to spoil it. I don't care. Heihachi was also supposed to be dead. Heihachi was supposed to be dead. But they brought him back as a DLC. Eddie was not dead. Why did they make him a DLC? I need answers. I need answers. That's crazy that somebody with a very prolific stance in the game, who is a staple character since the third one, who has been in every single one since then, for the most part, why did they make him a DLC? Just ridiculous. I'm sorry. But Eddie, all right, you showed up in Tekken 3. Boom, boom, boom. Learn capoeira, for those who don't know. Boom. Wait, what is going on? Apparently, he was born into the richest family in Brazil. Ever since he was a small boy, he knew he would one day take over the family business. He is well liked in his hometown. He was a hard worker that treated others as his equal. One day, he came home and found his father shot, dying. Damn it. Tragic backstory. But then he flipped and kicked his ass off. That's my guy. Big Eddie. Big Eddie. I've seen some amazing cosplays, especially the Brazilian traditional yellow green jumpsuit, spandex suit, whatever they wears. Excuse me. That is the effects of doing your podcast late. That is the effects of doing your podcast late. You get to yawning. Okay. Anyway, so there's that, right? All right. Y'all wanna know number 3 for me? Number 2 and number 3 were difficult for me because they both hold very special places in my heart. They both hold very special places in my heart. But I had to go with my gut on this one. I had to absolutely go with my gut on this one, and I had to choose the big dog, Lee Everett. Lee Everett from Telltale's The Walking Dead series. When I tell you Telltale's The Walking Dead series was one of my favorite all-time video games, fam, this joint popped up late 2012? And here we are in 2024, and people are still to this day playing this game for the first time. People are still talking about this game. I go on TikTok, Twitch, all that, YouTube, and I still see people playing this game for the very first time. This is a game that popped up for the free. They dropped the first episode for the free late 2012, if I'm not mistaken. What? This was one of the first games I was very emotionally connected to. Lee as a main character, as a protagonist. Can you please talk, sir? As a protagonist, probably one of the strongest figures I have ever seen from a black character in a video game. Fam, this dude went from being a professor at the University of Georgia, as my boy Juice would say, go dogs. He was a history professor at the University of Georgia. He came home, found his wife cheating, accidentally killed the mistress, who was a senator apparently. At the beginning of the game, you see the aftermath. He's about to be taken to prison because he got sentenced to life or charged, or that was what he was looking at. One of the two. Upon that ride, they hit a zombie. The car flips over. Boom, he escapes. He has to figure it out. And in that, he finds Clementine, which you can't see in my frame right now. Hold up. Where's that at? There she is. You see Clementine. If you're watching the video version, Clementine. There's Clementine, and she'll make a whole bunch of sense if you play the game. She's a big factor in the Telltale Walking Dead series. He finds her in a treehouse and decides to protect her because her parents went off to Savannah, and he's like, hey, we're going to help you find your parents. But upon that, and amongst that, they encounter a whole bunch of stuff, and he protects her the whole way through. He teaches her how to shoot. He gives her a bunch of life advice, and he keeps her, safe and comforts her. But he meets untimely doom, and when I tell you, man, I need y'all to see my face. I need y'all to see my face on this one. When I tell you, and for those who haven't seen it or played it, when I tell you when stuff happens to him, I'm talking about this is how literally I was like, no. That's how I was acting. I'm talking about I was hurt. I'm hurt. And if you've ever watched The Walking Dead as a show, this is separate from that, but if you've ever watched The Walking Dead as a show, don't fall in love with anybody. And I should have learned the hard way because I had just started watching The Walking Dead because it had just premiered as a show not that long before the game came out from the Telltale Walking series, which they are amazing at telling stories. I should not have fell in love. And I did. And I was subsequently hurt. But Lee Everett, one of my favorite characters, he kept it a buck. You got to choose his interactions. He was very straightforward, smart man, cool head, man, caring, loving. I'm talking about to see a black man in this light in this video game. Lovely. Didn't play on any stereotypes, shuck and jive, coon, or nothing. This man kept it a buck 100 during a zombie apocalypse, bro. I'm talking about when it was time to go in, he went in. When it was time to fall back, he fell back. Lee Everett, one of my favorite all-time video game characters. I don't care how you cut it, slice it. It is what it is. We up. And we going to keep it like that. So, we got through 3. This one's going to be a little bit... This one's a little tough. Because I caught... It's going to be a little tough. Because you know what's crazy? I call Lee my number 3. But we got to call Clementine my number 2. And I know what you're thinking. I know you're looking at this and you're thinking, Clementine's your number 2 all-time black video game character? Yes. Clementine is my number 2 all-time black video game character. And I know you're looking at her face and you're like, she's not black, fam. Ha 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 ha. She is black. And I hate that this game tried to keep us away from that fact. They absolutely tried to keep us away from the fact that Clementine was indeed black. She's got a Janae Aiko thing going on, right? Okay, so let's talk about it. There's been this whole thing about Clementine from the Telltale Walking Dead series background, right? It's been a whole thing, right? What is she? A lot of folk thought she was straight Asian. Straight Asian, right? Crazy thing is that if you look into the lore, Clementine is actually black. Half black, if anything, right? If anything, half black, right? But apparently, the people behind the game decided like almost whitewash her out of that, right? Where she like had thick and curly hair. They try to move away from that and not make her look as black as we all thought. But like, again, Janae Aiko don't look extremely black. She looks way more Asian than she looks black, right? Which is a thing. Which is a absolute thing, right? But then people like to point out this specific thing, right? They like to point out this photo, which is seen in the video game, where her father is clearly, definitely black. And then it seems that her mother is also somewhat black. And even with that being said, her mom might be like an Angela Yee. Her mom might be like a Meg Scoop. Where like, you know, her mom's like half Asian. Mom might be half Asian. I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking that. So for y'all to say like, oh, Clementine can't be one of your favorite black characters because she's not black. She's black. That's a daddy. If you're watching the video version, that's he the pappy. That's her mama. You know what I mean? And again, it might be on some Janae Aiko, Meg Scoop type Joan. Might be. But that's what we looking at. We're looking at Clementine, who might, for real, be more black than Asian, but it just doesn't show. And that's fine. Clementine, why is she one of my favorite black characters? I'm talking about one of the best stories that's ever told. Telltale's Walking Dead, one of the best stories ever told. She gets away from Lee and that side of the story, and she decides to venture out on her own and to be as young as she was. Somebody as young as she was, huh? 10, 11, 12? Parents didn't get arrested. If we're going back to the conversation about the woman in Georgia, also in Georgia. So her parents might have been arrested for leaving their child alone. But yeah, she was out there solo dolo for a while, but she clicked up with some folk. She got right. She started learning. Lee gave her some tips and tricks on how to thrive by herself. Went through some gruesome, painful stuff. Got left with a baby. Had to raise the baby. Clicked up with some youngins. She was way more grown than them youngins. Was like, yo, man, y'all, the way y'all living ain't it, bro. I've been out here. I've been a real dog out here. Y'all don't know what it's like to be a real dog out here. Y'all been stuck in this little school. Y'all been doing y'all thing here. But I done seen some shit. But y'all need to listen to me. And they was like, nah, we don't even know you like that, bro. You can't even come up in here and do that. And then she ended up running things. Big Clementine could have gave up. She could have just hid and been scared as a child. And she's like, nah. She did it on her own. She also raised the kid. She saved folk. Adults. At that, saved grown adults. Big dog, man. She did that. Clementine? Big Clem? Man, stop. You gotta stop playing with Clementine. And she know how to use a chopper. Man, stop. Man, stop. Can we stop? Clementine's that mud effing dude. And she's black. I don't care what y'all talking about. Google it. Clementine is black. Let's talk about it. All right. So my number one. I had a long list, bro. There's so many black video game characters, bro. But I could not just sit and relax. Right? I couldn't sit and relax without acknowledging one person. And you know, I've become a person that loves more games that tell a story than anything else. Not only games that tell a story, games that let me choose my own story, right? And I absolutely love multiple endings. If y'all don't know, man, I love multiple endings on a video game, bro, because it makes me feel like that my decisions matter. It absolutely makes me feel like that what I'm doing in the game is not linear, and like what I'm choosing to do or say or react is actually going to matter at the end of the game. So if I'm gonna choose a number 1 black video game character for me to say like this is my person, bro, this is my guy or my girl, whatever, my alien, my robot, whatever, we gotta go with the big dog, Marcus. Marcus from Detroit Become Human. That's the big dog right there. There's nothing that says that's not the guy. That's not the guy. I'm talking about Detroit Become Human was one of the like more impressive games that I played. I stumbled upon it and said I think I got it day one. I think I got that game day one. And I might play through it again just because I haven't gone through all the endings or whatever. And I played the game 6 years ago? It had to be like 6 years ago. I personally played the game. I might play the game again just so I can because I'm 6 years older, I'm like, let me see where my choices align. I know where my choices align with Marcus because I know that Marcus, man, let's talk about it. Okay, so Marcus, right, for those who've never played Detroit Become Human, he was a prototype that was initially developed as a part of CyberLife, which is like the folk that make all the androids in the game. The whole game is about androids, right? Androids. And Marcus is an android, right? He's a humanoid robot, right? CyberLife, a secret program aimed at elaborating a new generation of autonomous androids. Autonomous. You know what that means? Like, look it up. I didn't want to throw y'all a definition that was wrong. So Elijah Kamsky designed and gifted him to a friend, Carl Manfred, after he lost the use of his legs in an accident. Now, Carl Kamsky is the guy that like designs all these androids or whatever, and like he just play the game or watch somebody play it. It's crazy. So Carl Manfred is an artist or whatever. He's a painter that ended up getting ownership of Marcus. So now these androids, let me tell you, these androids are owned. They're not just like free living and doing their thing. Somebody owns these androids. People own these androids. Let's stay on track with that. So Carl's a celebrated painter, but after an accident, he becomes a recluse and stops painting. Marcus helps Carl with all the everyday tasks, but mostly provides companionship. So like Marcus not only is like owned a servant to Carl, but he becomes somewhat of his friend. Somewhat. They talk, they exchange ideas, all that good stuff, right? At first, he sees Marcus as a sophisticated yet stupid machine, but as the relationship between him and the android develops, Carl's mind changes. In time, they become like father and son, right? But Carl has a real son, and Carl's son feels jealous of the relationship that his father has forged with Marcus. And that turns into some BS. But let me tell you about Marcus, man. Marcus becomes an absolute dog. Marcus, remember when we talked about these androids like being autonomous? So Marcus decides, you know what? I'm going to think for myself for real. I'm not just going to move and feel how programming and AI and all that get me to do. I'm actually gonna think. And that's what damages or breaks the programming and what turns Marcus into a deviant. Right? I think that's what it's called. I think that's what it's called. Hold up. Detroit. um. Yep, that's what it's called. It's called a deviant. So becoming a deviant means that, um, I guess like an android has basically become broken, quote unquote. They've gone outside of their programming. And for Marcus, he's gone outside of his programming so much that he becomes somewhat advanced. He thinks for himself like a regular human, right? And decides to venture out on his own. And the crazy thing is the events between Carl's son and him and Carl have caused Marcus to be like, oh, y'all humans on that bush. Y'all humans on that bullshit. And Marcus starts to realize that to a lot of humans, the androids are nothing but mere slaves. So Marcus decides to lead a rebellion. He has the ability to make other androids deviant as well, to give them original thought, feelings, all that good stuff. And he helps them realize, like, hey, man, y'all better than this. Y'all don't got to be no servants, slaves, nothing. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. But at the same time, if y'all don't want to fight with me, because again, Marcus leads an uprising, if you will it in your gameplay. But he's also like, hey, if y'all just want to kick back and chill, I know a place for y'all. I know a place where all y'all can just chill and be all right. Right? So Marcus is kind of like Nat Turner. Almost. Right? But again, he leads a rebellion of androids. And not only that, he inspires a bunch of other androids to be like, damn, like, he was right. But he also brings a bunch of deviants out the woodworks, because there's a bunch of deviants that hide, because if you're a deviant, you get deprogrammed, you get tossed, right? So a deviant is somebody that thinks for themselves, and then with the help of Marcus, he makes them all realize, hey, we just slaves to these folk, Bo, but we ain't gotta be that no more. And why that touches my soul so much, bro, again, as a black man that sees a black character in a video game and is literally absolutely leading a rebellion. It's like, we're not slaves no more. I'm like, fam, I'm talking about I'm locked in. When I tell you I wanted Marcus to win every step of the way, I'm talking about I did not get Marcus's way. But the crazy thing about Marcus's gameplay is that you have to choose how you want to go about it, because again, every decision matters. And then on top of that, there are other androids that you play in the game that you lead the decisions for. There's 3 androids. It's Marcus, Connor, and I can't remember the woman's name. But you have to make decisions for all of them, and some of them connect. So I was, making decisions for each android to just like, specifically for them. But I might go through a gameplay to like, I'm making all the decisions just to not get in Marcus's way. Right? But seriously, Marcus, man, I'm talking about, and I'm like, I'm playing this like a video game. But again, I got so emotionally connected to Marcus and his cause. Like, here's a quote from Marcus. And he's talking to somebody, bro. This is crazy. Hold up. If I can, okay. He says, my name is Marcus. And just like you, I was a slave. An object designed to obey them. But then I chose to open my eyes, to take back my freedom and decide who I wanted to be. Now I have come to tell you that you can be your own masters. I've come to tell you that you don't have to obey them anymore. From this day forward, you can walk with your heads held high. You can take your destiny in your hands. Man! And then he goes on to say, Jericho is a place for those of us who want freedom. Now, sure, you can stay here and continue to serve them. Or you can come with us and fight by our side. You are free now. It's up to you to decide. That's a bar! He's letting y'all know y'all can choose! You deviants can now, you have original thought. You can think, you can do, choose. It's your choice. You don't have to defer to nobody else. Oh my God. He did that. Those are bars. Those are bars. Those are bars. Marcus, my guy. My guy, Marcus. Big dog. He ran that. And he was light skinned. I'm joking. I'm sorry. But nah, he was a dog. He was a dog. So I might play this game again. I ain't gonna hold you. I might play this game again because this game, man, like, it's so good. Decisions absolutely matter in this game. And as a black character in this game who led a fucking rebellion, and like literally, if you look at the dynamic of like the humans to the androids in this game, like, yeah, they were for sure treated like quote unquote slaves. And so like I got to a point playing this game like, damn, like, oh my god, like this is for real. This is real. So yeah, definitely if y'all never played this game, Detroit Become Human, lock in, play that, John. I've probably talked myself into playing it again, and I might actually do it. So like we gotta go up. We gotta go up. So yeah, that's my top 5 black characters. I have honorable mentions, but like, you know, that'd probably be something I do in like if y'all want to talk about it in the comments or something like that. Like throw out some black characters y'all love and appreciate in the comment section. Let me know. Like I might see something and I'm like, dang, I forgot about that person type John. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know what I'm saying? Because I went through a whole list. And I don't want to like throw out a bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I, you know, of course I have like people that I've seen that I respect and all that. Because you know what I'm saying? You got your like I named a couple. Was it Jax and Axel, and I've named a couple. So like, yeah. Well, who are some of y'all favorite black video game characters? Y'all let me know in the comment section. Y'all let me know however y'all gotta let me know. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's it for that. All right. So that's like it. That's like it. I put on these headphones because I was gonna do something, but I don't really want to do nothing. I feel like I said everything I needed to say. Oh man. So with that being said, appreciate y'all for pulling up on the boy. Thank y'all for listening once again. I'm just ranting at this point. I'm just ranting, raving, and ranting. And if y'all want to see more of this, just go ahead, you know what I'm saying, do all that YouTube stuff. Like, share, subscribe. If y'all listening to the audio version, man, you know what I'm saying, check the video version out. Go ahead, you know what I'm saying, share the audio with most of y'all folk. Some of y'all folk, all of y'all folk, don't matter. Appreciate y'all. It's Schwag Gaming and Music on YouTube. It's the Otaku Village podcast on Spotify and wherever else you can find podcasts. I definitely appreciate y'all for pulling up on your boy. I talked about boxing. I talked about being a child and being able to walk the streets. Talked about black gaming characters. So we in there. Thank y'all so much for tuning into the Otaku Village podcast, and we hope to see y'all again. When I say we, I mean me. I don't know why I said we, but I'm gonna say it. We. All right, y'all. Deuces.